Well, hello everyone. It's Sybil Starr, and I'm here to give the astrology forecast for the Sagittarius full moon. And it occurs on, let's see, June 11th at 12:45 a.m. at 20 degrees, 39 minutes of Sagittarius. Now, as we know, full moons bring heightened emotions as it activates not only our emotional body, but animals, Mother Earth, everything responds to the full moon. And Sagittarius teaches us that truth is a journey, not a destination. And its symbol, which is the archer, reminds us that we are not meant to wander aimlessly. We are meant to walk with wonder and fire, guided by the truth only the heart can aim for. I found that somewhere and I really like that. Anyway, now let's look at the full moon. Let me show you the chart itself. Let me screen share here. Okay. All right, so here it is. So, as I said, the Sagittarius full moon occurs on June 11th, 2025 at 12:45 a.m. Pacific time. So, depending on where you are, it could be early morning, later in the day. Anyway, so the moon is at 20 degrees, 39 minutes of Sagittarius, and it's opposite the sun because we know the moon has no light of her own. She only reflects the light of the sun. So when we look at a full moon, we look at the energy of the full moon, but know that it's actually part of an axis, an integration of these two energies. All right. Now, this full moon is in a square to the nodes of the moon, and the nodes of the moon have to do with our destiny. That whenever they're activated, is a turning point, a crossroads. There's something really significant about that. So the north node is at 23 degrees 4 minutes of Pisces, opposite the south node at 23 degrees 4 minutes of Virgo. So that makes what is called a grand cross, and that's a dynamic pattern. All right, what are some other components of this full moon? Well, the moon is in a grand fire trine with Mars. Mars is here at 26 degrees of Leo. You can kind of see it right there. And then it comes over and it's 120 degrees. A trine is always 120 degrees or around there. Okay. Uh, with Chiron at 26 degrees of Aries and Eris at 25 degrees of Aries. Then it comes back. Okay, so you can kind of see the trine there. And then its release point is the sun. So it actually makes what is called a kite. Okay. All right. So some other things that are happening are the ruler of this moon is Jupiter. And Jupiter just entered Cancer, which is really lovely. It's exalted there, and it's very powerful there. And Jupiter is conjunct Mercury at 4 degrees of Cancer, and so both of these are in a square. You can kind of see the square right there with the Saturn Neptune conjunction in early Aries, and this is very powerful point. Now, there are some other components of this chart that of this full moon, the chart of the full moon, um, that are very dynamic and very activating. So the first one is we'll go back to Mars. Mars here at 26 degrees of Leo. Not only is it in a grand fire trine, which is very volatile. Well, a fire trine is just a lot of fire. But it's an easy flow. But then it is squaring Uranus, which makes it very volatile and extremely dynamic, okay, and unpredictable. And then we have Venus in a square to Pluto. All right, and that brings in some relationship issues as well. All right, let's see if there's anything else. I think that's all I'm going to talk about. All right, so what does all of this mean? All right, so first we'd like to talk about the archetype of Sagittarius, since but we are going to look at the axis as well. So Sagittarius is known as the seeker. It is the journey. It is the one that is on the journey, on the quest for truth. Some say the quest for the meaning of life. It's always looking for the truth. And and many people find it in many different ways. You can have it in cross-cultural experiences. You can have it in adventure sports. Sagittarius is a very adventurous kind of an energy. A lot of people that like to climb mountains. It's like where you find God in many ways. And some people, that's where they find it, is in adventure sports and in connection with nature. Sagittarius is aligned with natural law. It is a very visionary kind of an energy, and it is so much about looking at the big picture, being able to see how all of the pieces fit together, okay, to create the big picture. So that it's just not just in the moment, but it's where is everything going? What is this really about? Sagittarius is one of the signs that requires a lot of freedom, freedom to explore, and it is connected to the expansion of consciousness. And that's part of the quest for the truth, is how it expands our consciousness in that quest for truth. And the most important thing, one of the most important things to understand, though, it's not about the destination. It's the journey that matters, and how we grow, how the journeys help us grow and expand our consciousness. Okay. It is a very experiential kind of an energy. Sagittarius only knows fire is hot when they put their finger in it. It can sometimes be challenging to be the parent of a Sagittarian child. But it's also the energy that, like riding a bike, when you fall off, you just get back on. Okay. All right. It is known to be blunt, is known to have open mouth, insert foot syndrome, which, Sagittarius is so much about the truth, and sometimes things are just blurted out, and because they need to be said. But other times things could be said with a little more finesse and diplomacy, because sometimes there's not. It really depends on how you want the information received. Okay. Sagittarius can be very opinionated. They may believe their truth is the truth for everyone. So one of their challenges is to learn to be tolerant of other people's perspective, that that many things are not a truth, they're just an opinion, and to be able to tell the difference between opinion and truth. All right. The shadows of Sagittarius can be being dogmatic, arrogant, and ignoring details. So deeply interested in the big picture, they can miss some of the smaller details that make it happen. All right. Now, of course, it's opposite the sun in Gemini. Gemini is very curious. It's like they say, curiosity killed the cat, but it is the lifeblood of Gemini. They've come to experience there's also a very experiential kind of an energy, but more on an intellectual level. Okay. Gemini is about communication. It's about gathering facts and information. It's the sign of the twins. And so it is about the twins is like people often say, are you the good twin or the bad twin? So it is about the integration of duality, and the integration of duality that occurs on many levels. And one, of course, is our right and left brain. Geminis are known for being able to do more than one thing at a time, and being really good multitaskers. The shadow of Gemini is chronic busyness and lack of focus. And so it's kind of like the archetype of the journalist is Gemini, and the archetype of the editor would be Sagittarius. Uh, Gemini gathers the facts. Sagittarius puts them together to make sense of them. What does this mean? All right. So some of the balancing the axis, Gemini Sagittarius axis is about balancing facts that you gather with the truths that you live by. It synthesizes information, Gemini, into wisdom, Sagittarius. And it's teaching discernment. Not all information is truth. Okay. And it's about leading the soul to speak its truth with clarity and listen with humility. All right. Now, it is square the nodes of the moon. And so the north node is in Pisces, which is the way forward. And the thing is, Jupiter is the ancient ruler of Pisces. It's always been the ruler of Sagittarius, but it's the ancient ruler of Pisces. So there really is a connection because they both have to do with faith, a certain level of faith. The North Node in Pisces invites a surrender, spiritual faith, and a deeper trust in the unseen, stepping into the oceanic consciousness of unity consciousness. Okay. I should have also said Sagittarius is related to theology, philosophy, all of the different kind of frameworks that help us give meaning to life. I should have said that. Whereas Pisces is more about spiritual faith and inner knowing and trusting in Creator. The South Node, and when we look at the South Node, we're often looking at the more shadow aspects of of whatever sign it is, because that's what we are releasing so that we can move towards the North Node. So the South Node in Virgo in its shadow side, clings to control, analysis, perfectionism, and logic, traits that may have served survival but not transcendence. So together they can mean you must release the need to understand everything and let your soul's compass lead the way. That's what I feel like the that Grand Cross is about, is releasing. You don't have to understand everything and trust your heart. Is what the Pisces North Node is saying. All right. And so the moon, Sagittarius moon, aligns with the star Ras Al Hag. I'm not sure if that's the right way to say it, but it's the brightest star in the constellation of Ophiuchus. And Ophiuchus is the 13th sign. If you are familiar with 13 sign astrology, and some people use it, it is the 13th sign. And what it is, it's the head of the serpent bearer. It is connected to the demigod Asclepius in ancient Greece, who was the divine healer. He was half mortal, half divine. He was taught by the gods how to heal. And one of the main ways that he healed was through his dream healing temples. In the ancient world, seekers traveled to his temples to engage in incubation rituals, which was sleeping in sacred chambers to receive dreams that would diagnose, guide, and ultimately heal. So, the supplicant, you could call them that, they could travel for miles. It's kind of like, Delphi. It could travel many miles and seeking a healing. And the healing dream, they would have to be purified first, and then go into the dream incubation temple and have 3 nights. And during that time, they were seeking a healing dream. And they would know it was the correct dream if one of the priests or priestesses had the same dream. And it could be anything from a physical ailment that they're shown, how to treat it with what herbs, to a disturbance in their household and what they need to do. And quite often it was a god they had offended. And so what they needed to do there. So, but anyway, what I would say is that this is a really great full moon to create your own dream healing temple, to have an incubation. What are you seeking healing on? And make sure that the room is clean and you're purified, and you pray and light a candle, and you could well have that healing dream that you are seeking. All right. All right. So Jupiter is ruler of the Sagittarius full moon, and in what is called mutual reception, because Jupiter is in Cancer and the moon is in Sagittarius. So they're in each other's sign. Okay. All right. So Jupiter enters Cancer on June 9th. It's exalted here. Jupiter is like our guardian angel, bringing blessings and opportunities. And it, like I said earlier, is what is said exalted in Cancer. It likes to be here. Its energy really attunes to it. And and what it brings is family and home become more important. But the most important thing is that it opens and expands the heart. It's all about love. It's bringing soul nourishment. It invites us to return to what truly feeds the heart: love, belonging, family, spiritual family, and ancestral memory, emotional wisdom, becoming aware that feelings are not obstacles to transcend. They are gateways to truth. Really follow your emotional patterns. It can also bring ancestral blessings and lineage healing. Memories may surface. The moon, they say the moon represents our emotional body. And in the emotional body, all of the memories of the soul are encapsulated in emotional form. And so when our emotional body is activated, as it is by Jupiter and this moon, memories may surface, okay, that allow karmic threads to be seen and rewoven. And also spiritual mothering. Jupiter expands our capacity to mother ourselves and others. All right. And the mutual reception brings with it uh, an understanding that the heart becomes the compass, wisdom is felt, not just known, and that emotional truth guides spiritual direction. Oh, they say we actually come to Mother Earth to be transformed by our emotions. Not every star nation is the emotional body as significant as it is here on Mother Earth, and it's one of the what we are learning how to navigate. All right. So Jupiter is conjunct Mercury, god of the mind, and it brings with it emotional intelligence, allowing for deeper understanding and nurturing interactions. And this adds a channeled quality to speech, perhaps even divine downloads, dream language, or memory-based healing. You may have some repressed memory surface, some things that you had forgotten, and things that not just, things that are challenging, but things that help you open your heart and like say, remember really wonderful events that have happened in your life and especially with your family. Okay. So ultimately though, it is about letting your heart speak. What is your heart saying to you? Okay. All right. And this Jupiter is square Saturn, the Saturn, Neptune, and Aries. And of course, first off, Jupiter and Saturn have met up twice before, but they were in mutable signs. This is the first time they've met up in the cardinal signs. They've had two square activations, and so this is the third one, but it's in a different sign than it has, or signs than it has before. So this is the third and final square between Jupiter and Saturn. And the third square is often a moment of integration. The first activation is kind of more like an opening, an awakening of what is the issue here. When then it goes retrograde, and the second square is really kind of a deep focus on what it is trying to tell us. And then the third one is the integration, and it is a chance to reconcile the tension between expansion and limitation, which is what Jupiter and Saturn represent, and to find rhythm within rhythm within life's natural ebb and flow. It's really, an aspect of manifestation, and especially with Jupiter in Cancer, it feels like there is a big piece of manifestation here. With Jupiter in Cancer, there's a deep longing for emotional safety, belonging, and being held in love. Saturn in Aries wants bold action and initiative, claiming our own personal sovereignty and our own personal authority. Saturn is also the creator of form and wants to bring it into form. And then when combined with Neptune, it becomes the sacred container of the birth of a new human consciousness. and brings with it our spiritual authority, not just personal authority, remembering our own divinity and I am presence. It brings in conscious co creation. We are participants in the creating of our world, so let us do it with conscious intent and with Jupiter in Cancer to remind us to create with love, for that is the frequency of the new earth and the new human consciousness. All right. Now we move more into the fire signs. And so we've got this grand fire trine, which is very powerful. Fire transforms. Fire burns away everything that is false. And so this aspect brings a fierce aliveness and courage to reclaim our truth. And Eris, the dwarf planet, the feminine warrior, demands that we no longer stay silent. That's what Eris has come into our consciousness about. There was a time when the feminine warrior and the paradigm shift lost her seat at the table, and she often, what she represents is at places where there are injustice and where someone has lost their seat at the table. Chiron reminds us that our wound is the key to our medicine. And Mars in Leo fans the flame of visibility and leadership. This is soul ignition and a call to live out loud. Now, Mars in Leo brings boldness, ambition, and a desire for recognition. Leo wants to be seen. It says, let your light shine. Okay. And Mars has been, but it can also lead to conflicts due to heightened pride or impulsiveness. Okay. And Mars went retrograde back in December of 2024 at 6 degrees of Leo. And so that's where the retrograde cycle started. And will be leaving Leo shortly, moving into Virgo. But I feel like the retrograde cycle was so much about asking us what makes us come alive, for that is the truth of your heart. Okay. And being asked to have the courage to follow the truth that your heart knows. Okay. Now it's square Uranus and Uranus in Taurus. The exact day is June 14th, but it's in effect for this full moon. And this is a dynamic tension between assertive energy of Mars in Leo and the desire for stability, which is Taurus. But Uranus is completely unpredictable and pushes us out of our comfort zone. Mars Mars Uranus is always volatile. Okay. It's always a volatile energy and difficult to manage. And we're definitely being pushed out of our comfort zone. This transit brings sudden disruptions, ego flare ups, and breakthroughs around identity, stability, and expression. Expect the unexpected, especially where you're clinging to comfort or pride. Leo, really, one of its shadows is pride. Taurus, its shadow is comfort. So this square can be shocking to the system. And what it is trying to accomplish is to free you from outdated roles and expectations, and to liberate energy trapped in old routines, um, people pleasing or fear of visibility, and to activate a deeper embodied courage rooted in truth. It's all of the Sagittarius new moon is all about the quest for the truth of your heart. Okay, and this Mars and this Grand Fire Trine is so much about courage, the courage to live your truth. Okay, to live the truth of your heart. Your heart knows the truth. To watch for impulsive actions or anger. There can be sudden shifts in finances, relationships, or health. One of the main things is accidents. To really slow down and be aware of your surroundings. This is an energy that is difficult to manage, like I said, and especially when you're driving. Be really aware of your own, because it can really activate some unexpected anger, I would say, could come up. All right. And it's also weather events. Uranus and Taurus is so much about weather events, and Mars is a catalyst. Mars makes things happen. It's like everything can be going along okay, and then Mars shows up, and it's like adding cayenne pepper to your soup. It makes it pop. Okay. So we've got at the current time 47 volcanoes are erupting now, and some really big ones in Italy, Hawaii, Mount Etna in Italy, Kilauea in Hawaii. I think there might be another one in Hawaii. I know there's a couple in Mexico, Guatemala, Indonesia, and many other places around the earth. So, and it's also a potential for earthquakes and massive earth changes around this time. But one of the ways to really deal with it is to pause. It's always about taking a pause before reacting. Stop before you react. Kind of hold it in. Know that it can do no good to just react impulsively. To stay grounded, ground your fire, and be very aware, like I said, of being centered and aware of your surroundings because I had a bad fall, and other people I know have had some falls lately with this energy. It's already in motion, even though it's not exact. And so this energy is difficult to manage. All right. All right. Next, we have Venus in Taurus is square Pluto. And so Venus, of course, is goddess of love. And in Taurus, she's is very much about self-love, self-worth, as well as, our bodies being sensual. She really, Venus in Taurus, she rules it. So so this is her sign. And so things that taste good, smell good, feel good, wonderful music. Venus in Taurus is so much about music. And it's also about comfort and stability. And but the most important though to me is about self-love and asks how we value ourselves. Venus and Taurus is really questioning how do we value ourselves. It asks for self-care, a self-love, care of the body, and listening to its wisdom. Now, Pluto in Aquarius is square Venus on June 9th. And but it's in the field. It's in the field for this whole full moon. And so what it brings in is self-worth versus soul sovereignty. Pluto wants deep authenticity. Pluto always wants authenticity, and so does Aquarius. Aquarius needs to be true to themselves. So so some of the questions that may show up is, are you selling out your power for comfort or belonging? And are your relationships authentic? Do you feel you can be your authentic self? If not, you may find some of those, you may find some you may no longer resonate with who've been a part of your life, that things are changing. And it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you or that person. It's just that sometimes we just lose that soul contact because Pluto activating Venus wants soul contact and wants it to be true and authentic. And one more thing is Aquarius is so much about freedom, and Taurus is about possessiveness. And so it is love as liberation, not possessive or projection, or not possessiveness, but soul truth. So that's what it is seeking. That is the ultimate goal of what this is about. All right. Now, we also have Uranus and Taurus is conjunct the Pleiades. It's going to be here for the next year. It's fully there now. It started the end of May, but it's fully present. It's going to be there for, like I said, the next year and even longer. And so, what this can mean is about the acceleration of consciousness growth. The Pleiadians, who are our cosmic cousins, who we have a lot of connection with, are said to be keepers of the fifth dimension of love, creativity, and unity consciousness. So I feel like what this happening is more heart opening experiences, increased telepathic communication and making their presence known. There's also the opening of portals and stargates that have been dormant for millennia that are now opening. As Bashar says, actually in 2027 is when he's predicting open contact. But they're going to be contacting us long before that, like I said, through telepathic communication, in our dreams. And the Pleiadians and the Pleiades is really a frequency that we're tuning into. And they can come into form here, but it is a frequency of the fifth dimension that we're tuning into. And I had a reading with the Mayan shaman and told him that I had this download, this message that there's going to be many activations and openings of portals and stargates. And he said to me, yes, that's true. And that the indigenous elders, they know when and how to open them. Um, but my job, and I would say all of our job, is how to prepare the people, how to prepare the people for these new frequencies and this increased light that is coming in through these portals. Yeah. And it's also about helping us remember the song of creation, our original design. That's what all of the indigenous people, their messages are getting is to return to our original design. And that original design is remembering that we are conscious co-creators. And Mateus de Stefano says that the Pleiadians bring the seeds of creation for planets that are becoming awake. They help their inhabitants to become creators of their own reality and help them connect to their inner truth. That's what the energy that's coming in is about. But it's also about the activation of the star codes and our crystalline DNA. And with that, we may have increased physical symptoms as this is happening along with increased solar flares. So take care of your body and pay attention to it. Okay, so the Sagittarius full moon brings together the power of truth and the depth of emotion, lit by the alchemical fires of a grand trine in fire signs and shaped by intense planetary tensions. It's a time when what we feel and what we know are no longer separate. The quest for meaning now moves through the heart, not just the mind. And this lunation challenges us to align our inner truth with how we actually live, love, and lead. This Sagittarius full moon is a turning point, not just for what we believe, but for how bravely we're willing to live what we know in our hearts. The fires of the Grand Trine ignite your spirit. Jupiter in Cancer opens the doorway to emotional wisdom. And Pluto, Uranus, and Mars, they strip away everything that keeps you from your essence. This is not a time for bypassing or pretending. It's time to return to the truth of your heart and have the courage to live it. That truth may feel tender, messy, beautiful, but it's real and it's yours. Let this full moon remind you you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be true. All right. All right. Well, I hope everyone has a wonderful full moon experience. And if you like this video, please check like and subscribe. If you're interested in a reading, my information is in the description box. And wishing all of you a wonderful full moon. And until we meet again, namaste and many blessings to everyone.